My children, folks, guys, girls, and those with the good sense to do away with the entire notion. I bring you here to judge, to criticize, possibly even to forgive and to accept. Ladies, gentlemen, neither both, and those in between. I've been called many things on Twitter.com. I've been called Toast Man, the Rye Guy, Rye Toast, even my government name. But over this past week, people have begun to call me Theory Jesus. So today, there will be a second coming of Theory Jesus. Folks, Thesis hath returned. Are you ready for your sins to be forgiven? I forgot to pull up the music before I did this. I'm supposed to, there was a music cue that didn't happen. I'm a professional, hold on. Hold on, I'm a professional. What does it sound like? What does it sound like? That'll do. Shit. I mean, damn. Sorry for this music jump scare. My children, let us begin talking about theories. Now let's get some things straight right off the bat, shall we? Hey bestie, what's going on? Now, we'll stick with the white, I think. Now folks, I've been called Theory Jesus quite a lot. If you'll notice, pizza belt for pizza. Now, let me switch to my usual chatting so chat can be on screen. Because this is a community stream. I want to talk to you guys. That's why we're here. Folks, today is not a judgmental stream. As much as I goof and gaff that I'm judging you and forgiving your sins, this is more of community brainstorming. So I don't want anyone to be afraid to share their brave and controversial opinions. The way this will work is I'm going to do my best to look through chat and try to get as many theories as possible. Now, if you want to guarantee I get to your theory, super chats are open. They'll be read aloud by the TTS, and then I'll be able to respond to them. And that's about it. And I do want to, listen, I want to get this out right away. I don't mean to offend any Christians or Catholics out there. This is all haha pretend. Obviously, I'm not really Jesus. Now, that being said, since I'm not actually Jesus, but Theory Jesus, that's a little wordy. So before we begin, I will be addressed as thus. Thesis, Theory Jesus. And anytime I make a statement or proclamation, it is a statement, and by default, a thesis statement. Now, shoot him in the chat, I'll do my best. Cassie is a robot. Now, Jordan Arnold, you're starting off hot. I do not like the idea of Cassie being a robot. However, if she truly survived that elevator fall as well as all the other falls involved, something is suspect there. It's worth looking into. You are forgiven. Before we continue, I have one more bit about thesis. This might be too far. So if there are any Christians in the chat, again, I'm just trying to do a bit. If this is too far, let me know, and I will not do it. But I made a big capital T for theory, and I put Freddy Fazbear on it. Is that too far? Let me know. This feels like it could be too far. And if so, it will not be shown again. So, Christians in the chat, let me know if that is too much. Thesis, my lord, can mimicking a mimic be canon? I mean, there are multiple mimics in the book, so it's very possible. I don't like that idea, but it is possible. What if Scott is Phone Guy? I mean, Phone Guy could be named Scott. I'm getting mixed signals from chat, so we'll use it very sparingly. A lot of people like it, a couple people do not. Someone's Pastra approved, I'll take it.
Super chatted $4.
We have a super chat. Oh my god, is that a $5 super chat from Trident89? Very kind.
What role do you think she will have in the future?
What is your opinion on Roxanne Wolf? What role do you think she will have in the future? Well, one, in general, Thesis and Thesis followers believe that Roxanne Wolf is pretty cool. Yeah, it's not a cross. It is, to show again, to be clear, it is literally a T that I painted purple and then super glued Freddy Fazbear too. So again, I get it. It looks like a cross, so that could be a little much, but you know. As far as playing a role in the future, the fact that she says a voice line at the end does have me suspect. Now, it has been raised that the mimic does begin mimicking Roxy's voice during their fight. That Cassie could be the mimic. Oh Lord, Charlie Bean. Oh Lord. Thank you for the 11 months. I am worried. If it is the mimic, then I see Roxy being decommissioned for good. But there is a chance that that was really Roxy. After all, somebody pointed out something that I thought was very interesting. When we shove our Faz Wrench into the Eye of Sun Moon, we reboot it. Why are we to assume that we do not just reboot Roxanne when we put it in there? Okay, I'm getting a lot of, it's not a real cross, so it's okay. Yeah, it's a wooden T for theory. It's still iffy, but yeah, like Mac Dave's like a way too much. Some people, a lot of, it's a mixed opinion. Hey, at least everyone is not in agreement that it is too much. All right, let's see who else. The 8-bit Fisher guy is the mimic. I assume you mean Old Man Consequences. As a celestial being, I'm well aware and friends with, you know. Gregory told goodnight, but Cassie told wake up. We'll come back to that, Super Moosh. I'm going to scroll so I don't lose that. I'm friends with Old Man Consequences as we are both celestial beings. Now, as far as Old Man Consequences being the mimic, I don't necessarily see that. I don't see why there would be a reason for it. I do think there is a link between FNAF World and Ruin that we have not yet explored. It is definitely worth looking into. Super Moosh. Gregory told goodnight, but Cassie told wake up. It is something that could mean something. It could just be cool and thematic. But you are forgiven. The Viper 26 with
Cryptid Prince super chatted $2.
Cassie is dead.
Crucify
I'll
him.
let this TTS
Crucify
go through.
him.
Cryptid Prince with the base Jesus Christ Superstar reference. That is a very good musical. Cassie is dead, not yet, maybe.
Magnus
the mimic
Russ
is mimicking
super
the
chatted
things.
$5.
Oh, I got another one. We'll get there. I
We're
promise.
trying to contain the mimic. If it was baby, it would help Afton slash
Yeah, all super
trap.
chats will definitely be gone through, and I will do my best to catch the theories going in chat, but there are a lot of you. Cassie's not dead yet. Is dead, not yet. Maybe the mimic is mimicking things. God, thank you for the incredibly kind $2.54. Stuffed Cassie in the soft mascot suit, so she's fine. I don't think the mimic I'm fairly certain if the mimic gets his hands on Cassie, Cassie is dead. Or at least will be turned into the next Vanny. I see what you mean by the mimic would want to stuff Cassie into a suit, but I do want to point out that I don't believe, as we are aware of, Afton ever killed a child by stuffing them in a suit. It was rather a easy way to get rid of evidence. So, that being said, Cassie could be stuffed into the soft mascot suit after being killed. Regardless, I don't think Cassie survives in a direct encounter with the mimic, but you are forgiven. Alright, there was a couple other super chats there that I have to go catch. Longfishy was just the $2, thank you. Magnus Russ with the incredibly kind $5. Vanny and Glitchtrap were trying to contain the mimic. If it was Baby, it would help Afton Glitchtrap, most likely Charlie, considering her hatred for Afton. That is fair. Now, here's the thing about that. It's interesting to think if we are to assume that Burntrap and the Mimic are two separate entities, which we're not sure of yet. There is an interesting flip between Security Breach and Ruin. Obviously, Vanny is freed by the end of Ruin, but it's neither here nor there. That is to also assume that Vanny or Vanessa is the one to create Mexis. Now, I understand that there is a rabbit theme, but the game also does hammer over our head that Cassie's father loves rabbits. So it is up in the air who created that. After all, we only know Vanessa and Vanny like rabbits from being Vanny when she's infected by Afton. We don't know if Vanessa has any attachment to a rabbit outside of being Vanny. But you are forgiven. Alright. Let's get some from chat. Kitty Demon Overkill. My theory is that Michael Afton was never at the FNAF 6 FFPS fire. He was intended to be the guard, but as we know, the intended being was not the one that was there. I've heard this a lot, and I do forgive you. That is plausible. This job not intended for you. I do understand that if it was intended for Michael, then that would give plausible deniability to Michael being there. The one problem I have with it, though, is that except for that line, very soon after is, I have a feeling you are right where you want to be. I think that is affecting the previous sentence, saying that he didn't intend for Michael to be here. He didn't intend for anyone to be there, but Michael was there.
I think after Cassie fell for the first time, everything after might have been a dream or someone stuffed her in a VR machine. Ernesto Villela super chatted $2.01, unrelated to Ruin, sorry, but a random thought I had earlier.
And
is it possible that Chica's I was the first line in UCN is actually the vengeful spirit, since Chica was likely a mediocre melody also?
Just waiting for
Ragland Incorporated super chatted $10. I know some people hate this idea, but I think FNAF Up to Pizza Sim is
500 of you are watching this.
They are canon but dramatized, allowing plot hole
I'm glad you guys
fixing,
are enjoying it.
But I also think Mimic might be trained from the game.
Breaking character. If you like the stream, make sure to like down below because it helps it in the algorithm. Don't forget that tomorrow at 3 p.m. EST, there will be a tournament on Crash Team Racing with 9 other content creators, including but not limited to, because I have a bad memory, and if I forget someone, it's not saying anything bad on them, I just have a bad memory. Yeah, Pastra, Johnny Blocks, David Barron, That Cybert Guy, I think it's That Cybert channel on YouTube, Stupid Butterfly, DJ Sturf, Absolutely Ash,
Gamer 12 super chatted $5. My
There's
opinion,
another D. No,
I
DJ
think FNAF World Desk Man is the rogue indie game
Ash,
developer mentioned in
Cybert,
FNAF VR while showing
Barron,
Scott's pick.
DJ Sturf,
also the BB World Files.
Hyperdroid, I'm so sorry. Hyperdroid, Johnny Blocks, HIJKLM, M? No. NOP, Pastra, QR, no. S, Stupid Butterfly, T, I already said Cyber. U, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure that's everybody, I could be forgetting, but you know, anyway, back to the stream. I think after Cassie fell for the first time, everything after might have been a dream or someone
Magnus Russ super chatted $5. Explanation: the default Vanny mask help programming told Cassie to repair the
Foxy
nose.
Go forward.
They might not have built it, but did keep it running.
That is an interesting point. I could see that. I hesitate, but I could see that. Especially considering everything fantastical that happens after she falls into the sewer. So that's a fair point. I don't like that theory. I think it makes Ruin somewhat cheap, but I do think it's plausible and you're forgiven for bringing it up. Ernesto with the 10 rubles? It's R10. I don't know what that is. Thank you. Unrelated to Ruin. No worries. But a random thought I had earlier. Is it possible that Chica's I was the first line in UCN is actually the Vengeful Spirit, since Chica was likely a mediocre melody also? That is an interesting point. I do like that. I've been of the opinion that, and this is a thesis statement here, that Chica saying I was the first was specifically about Chica being Susie being the first victim of the missing child incident. Otherwise, it doesn't make much sense to me, but that is another plausible explanation. Next was Raglan with the incredibly kind 10. I know some people hate this idea, but I think FNAF up to Pizzeria Sim is canon-ish. They are canon but dramatized, allowing plot hole fixing. But I also think Mimic might be trained from those games.
Melon super chatted $13.07. Any ideas about the Mimic mascot costume?
Or 12 euros.
When in Matt Pat's Mega FNAF theory, he says the early FNAF locations could have mascot costumes, so might be related. Just a thought. Also love your content.
We will get to that. I have been a long-time believer in what Help Wanted meant to establish was everything before Help Wanted was an in-universe indie game. It's the only way to explain the presence of Nightmarion and Shadow Bonnie and Ennard in official Fazbear merchandise, including, but not limited to, Scrap Baby. So that's FNAF 1 through 6, characters that should not exist in Fazbear canon, existing in Fazbear canon. Frankly, I think we can go one step further.
S5 super chatted $5.
S5
Weird thing. I was going to DM you on Discord a theory I had about the FNAF 6 location being an early location in, then a video came out. Lol.
My chat scrolled all the way down for some reason. There we go. Isn't it strange that the blob, or the tangle as the files call it,
the costumes Mimic uses
I might have to just
quite similar to the Glitch Trap costume,
so we can
and
get
I feel like
faster.
It is also similar to the Fredbear cardboard on
I
Brazil
really like the Foxy. I want him to stay. Isn't it strange that Tangle, even though Molten Freddy had this strange molten face, Tangle has Funtimes Freddy's face? Wouldn't it make more sense that Molten Freddy's face was always Funtime Freddy? And that would explain the indie game dev explanation with Help Wanted. These things, these events, happened in some way, but they've been dramatized and turned into video games, and that's why Molten Freddy has that strange sort of melted face. It wasn't real, it was a dramatization. It was really just a burnt Funtime Freddy. Alright. Next up, JZGamer12 with the incredibly kind 5. My opinion, I think I'm gonna mute the TTS. I think FNAF World Deskman is the rogue indie game developer mentioned in FNAF VR while showing Scott's pick, also the BB Ward files. That's really fair. I think that is a very valid explanation, and you are forgiven for that statement. But may I posit something strange? I believe FNAF brought it up, and if he didn't, he will soon, I'm sure of it. I've seen it talked about on Twitter. Isn't it strange that in that FNAF World cutscene, there's darkness and then 2 eyes? And isn't it strange that the introduction to the Mimic is darkness with 2 eyes? With every other FNAF World connection, that surely is not an incident. But you are forgiven, JCGamer12. Magnus Russ with the incredibly kind 5. Explanation. The default Vanny Mask Helpy programming told Cassie to repair the nodes. They might not have built it, but did keep it running. That's fair. Now, I forgive you for that statement and for that theory. I am currently under the assessment that the Vanny Mask was never actually a security mask, but something wholly created by Vanny and Glitchtrap. Therefore, Helpy inside of it would also be affected by that. Now, there is a fair counterpoint which I forgive myself for making, but Helpy seems to be infected by something, not created by something. So that does imply that there was an AR security mask of some kind. It's a fair point either way. Melon with the incredibly kind 12 euros. Any idea about the Mimic mascot costume? When in MatPat's Mega FNAF Theory, he says the early FNAF locations could have mascot costumes, so it might be related. Just a thought. Also, love your... well, thank you for the compliment at the end. Now, that's a very valid point. Especially considering that if this is the FNAF 6 location, these would have been Henry's belongings more than likely. And it is theorized often, which this is a thesis statement, but it is theorized often that Henry was in this business for a long time, early as well. So that could explain where those mascot costumes come from. And if so, it could be early Fazbear, it could even be real circus mascots. It's hard to tell. I should have grabbed water for this. It's a lot of talking and I'm very thirsty. S5 for the 5. Thank you for the incredibly kind 5. A weird thing, I was going to DM you on Discord a theory I had about the FNAF 6 location being an early location. Then your video came out. LMAO. Yeah, no, my current understanding is that it goes Fredbear's. Fredbear's gets shut down. It gets bought up by a bar named Junior's. Junior's gets shut down. Then the FNAF 6 location is built there. That gets burnt to the ground. Then Pizzaplex is built on top of it. It's just a reused plot of land. But you are forgiven. Okay, back up. I'm just trying to go through all these super chats. I wish there was just a super chat menu to make my life easier. Okay, next was Chapeau-Naughty, I hope I said that right, with the incredibly kind R5. I don't know what R is, but thank you. The costumes Mimic uses are quite similar to Glitch Trap costume. I feel like it's also similar to that Fredbear cardboard on the Brazil ending. I don't even need to forgive you. That's an incredibly good connection. Connecting the stitched together Glitch Trap costume with the only other stitched together costumes we have. That's interesting to think about. It could point to Glitch Trap being an early costume. It could point to all of them being early costumes. It's something to think about. Bruno Canales, the incredibly kind 5 pen, P-E-N, I'm not sure what that is. But thank you. Mexus and the nodes were inspired by the connections of Bonnie and the Floorbots. Both share the same concept and both block the entrance of a place. That's very fair. I wonder if Cassie's dad really modified Mexus to keep the Mimic away from everything. I wonder if it was inspired by what he noticed from Glamrock Bonnie if he found him. You are forgiven. Okay, there was one more, and then I can go back to chat. There's two more. Kate with the incredibly kind 2. Cassie's dad is Mike's friend with the Bonnie mask. I've seen people do this connection a lot, where the Bonnie mask kid and the Freddy mask kid from the FNAF 4 cutscenes are the parents of our current children. This, my friends, and I forgive anyone who makes these, is what I like to call a harmless theory. It's the same reason that I believe that the crying child's name is Evan. Is there not really a lot of evidence for it? No. Is there strong evidence for it? No. But does it affect anything if we're wrong? Does it change anything if we're incorrect? No. And is it a fun connection? Yes. So Kate, you are forgiven, and you know what? Why not? It doesn't really change anything in the canon, so it's kind of just fine to be that way. Trident89 with the incredibly kind $5. What do you think will happen to the... Oh, it went up. Where'd it go? Where did it go? What do you think will happen to the Glamrock animatronics? Will they be deactivated? Will they be repaired? I hope Roxanne will be repaired. At this point, I don't think the other Glamrocks can come back. Maybe Roxanne in the next continuation of this current story. I could see Cassie and the Roxanne animatronic surviving in the caves. Monty's gone. I'm sorry. I love Monty. Monty has moved on. Chica needs to be put out of her misery. I'm sure she has moved on as well. Freddy is barely here. But Roxanne has a chance, and I wish her luck in her endeavors. You are forgiven, Trident. There was a $2 down here. S5 with the 2 wanted to say, well, you're cool. Well, thank you, S5. That's very kind. Jesus fucking Christ. Wait, I'm Thesis. Sorry. Sorry, Space Ace Alex with 50? 50? Folks, don't do that. That's very kind. Do not do that. Look after yourselves. We are in a bad economic time. I do not need people sending $50 to a theory man wearing a robe with a purple Freddy T for theory, okay? Make better financial decisions. Thank you for the 50. Jesus Christ. Toy Freddy did the bite of 87. The proof is in the corporate buying of the Freddy character in the presumably next advertised generation of animatronics. They can't get rid of him, but they can hide him in the maintenance and use Baby as the new face. That is interesting. However, I do not agree with it. I forgive you for your statement, and I forgive you for your poor financial decision. However, I would posit it is much more likely that either you could say Mangle for the angle, but also, Toy Chica's right there. Toy Chica's whole thing is that she's gonna bite you. She takes off her beak and has teeth. In the UCN, all of her UCN lines are taking a bite out of you. I think that's more likely. But I forgive you. It's not impossible that Freddy was the one that did it. Not at all. Next up, Kuro Cat with the incredibly kind $10. We're almost caught up and I can go back to chat. I still think Lefty was meant to be the face of the Blob. Confirming the Blob was the FNAF AR animatronics, also Charlie taking over the pizza box with the wires, but then Lefty never made it to AR. Lefty being the face of the Blob would have been very interesting. It isn't. To be clear, it is not. But it would have been interesting. And it still is a possible connection if the indie game dev theory is to be believed. But it is possible. It is something that is definitely possible. I do like it, and you're forgiven for it. I don't know if I believe it, though. Bot Spider with the incredibly kind 5. I don't know much about the books, but do you think that Helpy is Mimic 1? If not, where is the Mimic 1 virus? I do believe that he may be. I think it makes the most sense that if Helpy is infected by anything, it would be the Mimic 1 virus. Which, to be clear, I'm like 99% certain that Glitch Trap is Mimic 1, so I've been using them interchangeably. But I think it makes a lot of sense for Helpy to be Mimic 1. And that could explain their bickering. The one confounding thing about Helpy and Gregory that I still have, and forgive me, but this is a thesis statement, they bicker. A few times in the game, they butt heads, implying that they're not the same thing. So if that's true, maybe Mimic and Mimic 1 are fully separate things at this point. That's something to consider. TBTV with the incredibly kind 5. I don't like how people pick and choose which parts of the books are canon and which parts aren't. Like, is Edwin a Henry stand-in, or is he his own person? Well, I forgive you, because, unfortunately, while I understand the frustration on both ends for are they or are they not canon, literally every FNAF book before Tales, it was very clear that parts of it were true for the games, and we did have to pick and choose which part of the books were important. For example, the Silver Eyes, William Afton, Henry Emily, Charlotte Emily, and a few other things about Remnant and the Fun Times, those were all important and canon to the games. But Charlie being a grown 4-person robot, we don't have evidence for that. You know, like, there has always been parts of the books that are canon to the games and parts that are not. To be clear, and I forgive anyone for misunderstanding this, all the books are canon to the books. The question is, are they within the game continuity? Are they in the timeline of the game, or are they separate canons? That is the question we have to answer. Thank you for the 5, you are forgiven. Kurikat with another 2, because Lefty was in all the AR trailers from the start. True. Yeah, Lefty was definitely meant to be an AR. That's strange. I wonder if AR was kept up, he would have been. We're almost caught up. You guys are being incredibly kind, so it's taking me a while to get there. Relaz 6 with the incredibly kind 5. Our player character in Help Wanted 2 is going to be Vanessa. The trailer states welcome back and is Help Wanted 2. Who played Help Wanted 1? Vanessa. That's perfectly fair. That's 100% understandable. It could even be Vanessa creating Maxis. I still think it's Cassie's dad, but you are forgiven and understood for that theory. Chapeau Nani with another incredibly kind 5. What if Gregory freed Vanessa before she could take Glam Body pieces to build Mimic into Burn Trap? So you're saying, what if Ruin takes place before Security Breach in a separate timeline? I forgive you, because I don't think that's true. But it's interesting to think about. It could explain a few things, but there are certain pieces to Security Breach that need to have happened for Ruin to happen. So I don't fully agree with that. It is an interesting idea, though. TV with another incredibly kind 5. I also ran out of space. Say your content is great. Well, thank you very much. I routinely don't listen to Twitter, and I won't listen to them about this, I promise. Jeremy Morris with the incredibly kind 10. Multiple and simultaneous springlock failures refers to the creation of the shadow animatronics. Multi equals 2, simultaneous, same time. 2 poor workers die at the same time, showing suits are dangerous. Very, very backed up with evidence theory. A very well-accepted theory. I think that is perfectly reasonable to think. I'm still considering the shadow animatronics to be agony reflections. John, Mr. FNAF, I am forgiving theories. I can forgive your theories. Just input it in the chat. I'll get to it. But welcome. I hope you enjoy Thesis, Theory Jesus. That's a completely valid and reasonable theory. I don't even have to forgive you, Jeremy Morris. You said nothing awry. I'm trying so... There's one more super chat that I can read chat. There's one more. Thank you so much again, but I'll get to chat. Pickle Pepper 900. $5. Very kind. Henry has green eyes like Elizabeth Baby. Hence, Baby isn't mine. Henry is Elizabeth's true father, making Charlotte and Elizabeth's sisters. That's interesting. I don't know how I feel about that. You are forgiven for the statement. I see where you're coming from. There is some modicum of evidence for it. I do not think it is true, though. Regardless, you are forgiven. Now I will pick from chat, since we have caught up on the super chats. Thank you again all so much. Vanessa is using his Vanessa is using the Vanny persona with good intentions, making the points that Mexus has to watch out with Vanny graffiti. I could see that, Mr. Sis. You are forgiven for the idea, sort of like taking back that identity. I still don't see it, because I don't see Vanessa liking the Vanny identity. But it is reasonable, and you are forgiven. Could the Springlock suit in FNAF's sister location be a pre-Scrap Baby? I hesitate, Fazbear Entertainment. You are forgiven for your statement, but here is my thesis statement. No. More aptly, Scrap Baby fairly certain seems to be the previous Circus Baby. Now you could explain the roller skates that come out of nowhere as being part of that Springlock suit we don't get any information of, but I think it is more likely something else entirely. As FNAF brought up in a recent video, there is a gestured Springlock suit in the books. Now, I believe he believes, don't put words in his mouth, but I believe he believes that this is alluding to Baby, as Baby is a jester, and I do see that. But what if it isn't Baby? What if that jester Springlock suit from the books is the Night Force suit we see in the sister location, and it might finally come into play? That is what I think that suit is. But, Fazbear Entertainment, you are forgiven. And I think I just saw a super chat. Kurocat with another incredibly kind 10. Here's a doozy. Oh boy. You are forgiven in advance, but we'll see. The puppet animatronic time travels. Explains the time travel ball pit, Sun Moon, Security Reach puppet, ball pit being the only other one. Security Reach puppet versus regular puppet, but still possessed. Kurocat, that is a doozy. Not the strangest theory I've ever read. You are forgiven for it. I like out there theories. Tonight is the night for it. I don't think you're right. I'll be super honest. I think that's wrong. But I appreciate you bringing it up. And that would explain the time-traveling ball pit. That is fair. That's really the only other ball pit we know about. I hope you're wrong. Frankly, I hope that's incorrect. Because that will make the whole timeline fucky-wucky. But thank you for the 10, and you are forgiven. Puff with the incredibly kind $5. Crying child isn't Afton's kid. That's why it's treated bad. I could see that, and then there's the whole the baby isn't mine thing, but I would hesitate mainly for why. Why would Afton have adopted a child that he hates? Was it just to experiment? After all, the crying child presumably dies near the beginning of the timeline. He probably wouldn't be doing experiments yet. I don't see it. It's fair, and I forgive you for it, but I don't see that, Puff. Thank you for the 5. Random Nation, welcome for the 5. I'm actually working on a theory video about Mexus, and I'd love your input. Do you think there could be a connection between Mexus and Glamrock Bonnie? Random Nation Studios, you're forgiven, but I do think the only connection that we have present evidence for is that Cassie's father, who loves Bonnie, modified the Mexus system to create the Bonnie-like avatar. Other than that, I do not see current evidence for it. It's a good point, though. Oh, okay. I guess I'll send it back. Just leave it aside. I thought it would stretch. Gotcha. Could you? My water's on the table. Could you just get that for me? I'm doing a lot of talking, and my throat is already going, and I'm very, 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 very thirsty. Thank you. You just needed one. My wife is being mean to me. Nothing. Nitsuchan Nui. I hope I said that right. That's a hard to say username for me. Thank you for the 5. That's very kind. Purple Guy didn't move the yellow suit during the end of FNAF 2. Cassidy moved the Golden Freddy suit and caused the bite of 87. I never thought about that. I hesitate only because the line isn't someone moved the suit. The line is someone used the suit. Well, so while that is interesting, I do hesitate. FNAF, you're telling me I'm trying to keep up. Mods, do your best, just survive. Since probably like 100 people have left and joined, the Christians in chat said it was not too much. I have a purple T for theory. It's a T for theory. The Christians in chat said it was okay, and someone said their pastor approved. So I'll take it. Yeah, everyone say hi to Amy. Virtue with the incredibly kind 5. The Bonnie crime scene feels like the FNAF 3 ending. 4 children in a spring trap while the crying child helped release the children. Not only that, first off, you are forgiven because that's a great point. Not only is that true, but what did we see in the very beginning of Security Breach? We see a staff bot surrounded by a broken staff bot surrounded by other staff bots, mimicking, dare I say, that Glamrock Bonnie pose. I think that is important. Twice now they've recreated it with robots. TV with the incredibly kind $10. The coffee pot is William's first creation because you see him in UCN. That means Afton, once you see him, and some of the animatronics on jump scare that they're his creation turning on him, so boom, coffee won. What? TBTV, you are forgiven. Thank you for the incredibly kind 10. What the hell does that mean? Everyone say hi, Casey. Hi, Casey. Keep purring. No, I did not. Oh, he wants food. Yeah, I don't... I mean, I could see the coffee pot being William's creation, but I don't actually know what it would do for the story. You know what? I forgive you because it's another harmless theory. It's one of those I'm like, I don't have evidence for it, but it doesn't really affect anything that drastically, so sure, why not? Alright, Droogish. In chat, Gregory drew Burntrap with a Springlock Bonnie suit, meaning Gregory has seen this suit probably in the FNAF 6 location because that's the last place we've seen it, but it's been removed by Ruin. Droogish, you raise an excellent point. I think his creation means something. If we didn't see the blob and the Easter egg at the beginning of the game, I would just say that the blob and Burntrap were created fully by Gregory. But we see the blob, we know it is real, and Gregory perfectly drew it on a piece of paper. Meaning, Burntrap could and probably is real and separate. I'm currently of the opinion that although the Burntrap ending did not happen, the blob still found Burntrap, absorbed it into itself, and left. And that leaving is what caused the collapse of the Pizzaplex. Raglan with an incredibly kind 5. Thank you again for the second dono. Since the books are their own canon, that we are assuming, Shadow Bonnie is not Agony in the games. He is the mimic learning from the games, but eventually copying Afton. I could see that if all the games are really games, Shadow Bonnie is just Mimic 1 being exercised. I could see that. I would counter with we do have some instances of things that are pretty damn close to Agony in the games. So I would assume that Agony is also in play in the games. And if so, Shadow Bonnie and Shadow Freddy are creations of it. After all, let me grab my holy text. The FNAF Character Encyclopedia. And if I flip to Shadow Bonnie's page, or as the holy text describes, RWQFSFSASXC, Toy Bonnie, but he's completely dark. He's rumored to be made entirely from Dark Remnant. Now, although we have no in-game mention of something called Dark Remnant, we do have a mention in the books that Agony is a dark reflection of Remnant. So I believe that Dark Remnant is another word for Agony. FNAF AR doubles down on this. Oh, we have a couple super chats to catch up to, so let me scroll down. Joseph Crowley with Incredibly Kind 5. I once thought that Happiest Day was no longer canon as it would conflict with Molten MCI, assuming Happiest Day happened after Follow Me. I have a counterpoint to that, Joseph Crowley. Pardon me. What if Happiest Day and Molten MCI are two separate sets of children? After all, we have the MCI and the DCI. I believe that the Happiest Day is for the children that died at the FNAF 2 location. That's where I'm at. And I have a whole theory video on it. It's very long. If I go into it now, I will miss a lot of super chats. But I promise you, there is decent evidence for it. And there is a video, I believe it's this year on Molten Freddy on the channel. Essentially, very quickly, parts from the withered animatronics were used to repair toy animatronics. And I believe that is where the toy animatronics were infected from. And then the toy animatronics were used to make to melt down and go into the fun times. So those souls go there, whereas the remaining souls stay with the withered. So we now have two sets. But more evidence over there. Holy shit, Corey Bite, with the way too kind, incredibly kind, $50 goddamn dollars. I told chat, stop doing that. That is not safe and it is not smart. It is a bad financial decision. I do forgive you though. Hot take theory. Thank you for the incredibly kind 50, Corey Bite. Glitchtrap isn't the Mimic 1 program. Glitchtrap was indeed a form of Afton, a remnant recreation. He acts exactly like William. He thinks he is Afton. Mimicry is copying something on a surface level, not deeper personality like we see. That's fair, Corey Bite. I have one key rebuttal for that. First off, I forgive you for the assumption, and it is a decent theory. I do like that. But there is a very distinct thing that Glitchtrap does. What? What do you mean? Oh, well, you were looking around. What are you looking for? Oh, okay. Haha, I solved it. Here, you can use this to ring it.
I think it's upstairs with Barley. No.
Oh, okay. Glitchtrap, the first things that we hear Glitchtrap say, everyone say hi, Amy, is hi, hello. A perfect recreation of what we hear. Oh, sorry. Hello, can you hear me? A perfect mimic of what we hear Tape Girl say in the first tape. That, plus the pizza party level, really feel like a recreation, which still leads me to believe Glitchtrap is a Mimic 1 program. Bird McTurd with the incredibly kind €2. Thank you. No theory on it, just €2. I appreciate it. Puff with the incredibly kind $2. I am Christian. I approve Crucified Freddy. I'll take it. Thank you for the $2. And I forgive you. Relaz, $2. Vanessa gave Gregory a description of Burn Trap and the Blob. that is a plausible explanation for how Gregory knows what they look like, but I would then rebuttal it with, that still means they're real. Right? Like, that still means they exist. So, it doesn't necessarily disprove anything, but I forgive you for the point. Crashmaster with the incredibly kind $10. You are too kind as always, but you are forgiven for it. Is it possible that the entire FNAF franchise is connected to as of 2023? The games connected to the Tales books, which connects to the Frights books, which connect to the original trilogy of novels. It's possible. Okay, honey. I still doubt Frights connections. Frights feels very, very suspect. To me, Frights, and I forgive you for pointing this out, but to me, Frights feels like just miscellaneous information for the franchise rather than canon tales. That's where I'm at. Okay. Water break. Remember to hydrate. Thesis says you must hydrate. Clover Pegs with the incredibly kind $5.59. How do you feel about the idea that the not quite appropriate spare costumes mentioned in FNAF 3 tapes are the suits found in the Mimics rooms? I'm glad you bring that up, Clover. I don't even need to forgive you. You are correct. As far as I'm concerned, yes. This is the first time we've had completely unrelated costumes that could plausibly have existed back then. I'm all in. I think that makes total sense. I think I actually had a short at some point saying we found the FNAF 3 costumes. And I think it was those, but if them, it might have come out before Ruin, which means it's something else. I don't know. If I haven't made a short on it yet, I was planning to, because I fully agree. I think that's just true. Holy, you guys are way too kind with these super chats. I can barely keep up with them. I'm trying to read chat and I can't get to it because there's so many super chats. Thank you. But Jesus Christ, well, look after yourselves, please. Bird McTurd with a 10, very kind. And the therapy tapes glitch trap is described as a starting point and then copying itself in the system. This feels very similar to Mexus and the parent nodes and children nodes. I see that, and I could see maybe they modeled the nodes after the, like maybe they modeled the security nodes after the behaviors exhibited by Mimic 1. But I do not think that Glitch Trap and Mexus are the same. The motivations don't line up for me, but I forgive you. The M in Mixus stands for Michael. I have no proof, I just think it's fun. Well, Nako with the incredibly kind $5. Sure. For tonight, M stands for Michael. What did you guys think of the marionette experiment enshroudment system? The fun thing about that, right? Even if you completely disagree with me, if you replace marionette with mimic, that's still a valid answer. Mimic experiment enshroudment system. I think experiment enshroudment system is really solid. Uh, 10 Crows in a Corner, great username, thank you for the 5, that's very kind. Michael's room in security breach could be foreshadowing for the new Help Wanted game by using the tapes to show it's important. I think that makes sense. Yeah, no, that's very fair. I don't know if it's necessarily foreshadowing for the next Help Wanted game, but think about this. There are a lot of Help Wanted 1 rooms recreated in the Pizzaplex. And then there's the sister location Michael room, which isn't a Help Wanted 1 room. Maybe it's a Help Wanted 2 room. And I think that leads into that. You are forgiven. Cryptid Prince with the incredibly kind $2. What flavor you got tonight, Rye? Well, I'm glad you asked. Now, folks, not sponsored. I mean, I am sponsored by Air Up very frequently. This stream isn't sponsored, but Cryptid asked. I have blueberry. I really like the blueberry flavor. I do genuinely like this product. Not a sponsor. Not sponsored right now. I wouldn't work with a brand I don't like. You know what I mean? Thank goodness for this water, man. A lot of talking. My throat is gonna be sore tomorrow. I won't have to do a lot of talking tomorrow. Maybe this was a mistake. It's okay. I only stream for like 2 hours. 2.5 maybe. Okay. 2.5 more hours, rather. Ernesto Viella with incredibly kind 5R. Maybe the OG book trilogy, or even Frights as well, are in-universe book series alongside the indie dev games on Help Wanted. God, I hope not. Don't get me wrong. You are forgiven. That is a very valid theory. But that would make everything weird. Very weird. I mean, I don't hate it, but I'm afraid of what it means. Crashmaster with the very kind, another incredibly kind $10. To be clear, it's more of a thought experiment rather than a theory, since the original novels are in a different continuity and Henry is alive in the games of 2023, and not in the books earlier than that. Yeah, that's fair. It's a fun thought experiment. Not necessarily true, but you're forgiven regardless. This thing. Look, it's a fun costume and all. This is metal. I don't know why they did it that way. It's so sharp. I'm starting to recline a little bit, so I'm just... Doop, 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 doop. Oh, that's good. You can see my pizza belt. I moved it up because it hurt my tummy. Crypto Prince with the incredibly kind $5. Remember to like the stream, friends. True, like the stream. It helps in the algorithm. Okay, so where were we? I think we're about to read chat. Oh, we got one more super chat. JZGamer 12 with the incredibly kind $2. What is Mrs. Afton's role in security breach on the robot table? It is interesting. That is one of the things that I think that gives the most credence to MatPat's theory that Mrs. Afton is involved. Because it is strange that a character hitherto unmentioned is given the importance of being at the front of the table. It's worth talking about. It's worth thinking about. I don't think it means anything, though. But you're forgiven for bringing it up. All right, let's grab some from chat. Irish Enderman. The theory that Roxy and Foxy are the same doesn't make any sense. There's no evidence for it, and they have nothing in common besides names sounding alike and being dog-like animals. Fair. You are forgiven for your uncertainty, which is completely valid. I don't know if Roxy and Foxy are the same base animatronic. I don't think they are. But I also think it goes back to that harmless theories territory. Did Roxy replace Foxy's area? Yes. So is it harmless to assume that Roxy replaced Foxy physically? Kinda. Furthermore, while you're right, it doesn't necessarily mean they are the same. It sure is strange that two dog-like animatronics have rhyming names. Maybe they were meant to be a pair, and that's why. But it's worth thinking about regardless, you know? I believe we got 2 super chats while I was on that. Corey Bright with another $10. Way too much, but thank you. Incredibly kind. Stop. You already gave a lot. I know the way of saying what I wanted to say without the... I mean, okay, fair. But still don't. That's a lot. Thank you, though. That was a good point, but I think that probably comes from the remnant attaching to the logs Tape Girl left. That's fair. No, that is a fair counterpoint to it. I think it could go either way. I think both interpretations are valid. I still lean to mimic one, though. Ari with the incredibly kind $1.50. I love the profile picture. Oh, there's a super chat I almost missed. It is Magnus Russ again with the incredibly kind $5. Michael knew the fun times in... I gotta move. It's hurting my tummy. I'll just put it right under my chest, as it were. Magnus Russ with the incredibly kind $5. Michael knew the fun times in some way. He said they didn't recognize me at first. This implies some familiarity that they should have known him. That's fair, Magnus. I think it's incredibly likely at that point in the timeline that Michael was helping William generally do experiments. And in that case, it would make sense that he went down there because, like, after being told to go down there, he had gone down there previously and would just continue to do so. That makes sense. You are forgiven. Cody Nelson. Gregory 100% cut the elevator. The static isn't evidence because there's also static before he gives you the instructions of running away from the mimic. You are forgiven. 2 things. 1, it's not static. There's static during the instructions, but there's mic feedback during the elevator ride. Mic feedback happens when a microphone hits a speaker. That, you don't get feedback from a speaker in an elevator because there's no microphone there. So you would get feedback if a microphone nearby turned on near a speaker, like the mimic. Second, I still don't see an opportunity for Gregory to hack into that elevator that's more likely than the mimic being right next to the battery. That's where I'm at. But you're forgiven because it could go either way. It really could. Lefty with the incredibly kind 10. Very, very kind of you. I think that Shadow Bonnie is possessed by Sammy Emily because of Theodore. Spicy take, ladies and gentlemen. I am very hesitant. I see where you're coming from, and I understand the Theodore thing. But I am very hesitant to introduce Sammy Emily into the story without any other evidence. For example, now, I have to forgive myself on this theory. This is a theory that I was brewing for a while and I decided to not make a video on. But isn't it interesting that in the books, Edwin created the Mimic, and Edwin's son was the first thing that the Mimic recreated and tried to be. And in the games, the first thing we see the Mimic really try to recreate is Gregory. And that would imply, now, I don't think that implies, but you could argue that that is implying that Gregory is the son of the Mimic's creator. And if Gregory is his son and it's not David, then it can't be Edwin. Who else could have built the Mimic but Henry? Could Cassie and Gregory be Charlie and Sammy robots? I don't think so. But, you know, it's an interesting thought experiment. Crashmaster with the Incredibly Kind 10. I believe that was the next one. Hold on. Another Incredibly Kind $10. Thank you. Do you think the FNAF mother are irrelevant now? Miss Afton is alluded to in the games, but not the books, while Henry's wife is never mentioned in the games, but only a little in the books. Yeah, I do think that the mothers are fairly irrelevant to the story, and I don't know if that just Scott kind of forgot about them, or just didn't really have a narrative reason to include them. I do not, at the current moment, see any reasonable evidence for either Mrs. Afton or Mrs. Emily to be involved in the games, but you are forgiven for bringing them up. Puff with the Incredibly Kind $2. I think the Scooper ending is the canon one. That's fair. Here's the thing about the endings. The Scooper ending and the elevator ending give us the same scenario. Either way, we have Cassie questionably surviving and the Mimic escaping in some way. In both endings. Because in the Scooper ending, the Mimic is no longer in that costume. However, in the Scooper ending, it gets scooped. And the Scooper primarily is a remnant injector. So that's something. I think the Brazil ending is the canon one, though. It's the only different one, and it would mean Cassie has been infected by Glitchtrap, and that's an interesting villain to face. Bird McTurd with the Incredibly Kind €2. Could the Springlock suit and sister location be a big mini arena? I mean, yeah. It would be a little weird, but you are... I see it because, like, it is... The face is generally shaped like that. And mini arenas are crawling all over you. So that's very valid. You know what? Yep. You're forgiven, and until we have more evidence, why not? Alright, to chat. Let's see. Who in chat? Ethan, why don't you take a timeout for spamming? Way too much. Look, I get sending the message a lot to get it to be seen, but 5 times in a row, several times, take a chill pill. Mr. Sodium, the rogue indie developer, is the father of Cassie. I may be wrong, but he's one of the only one in the series and the games which is not too old to have or adopt children. That's fair, Mr. Sodium, and we do know that Cassie's dad likes the franchise a lot and presumably worked at the Pizzaplex. Yeah, I could see that. I only hesitate because Fazbear Entertainment kind of makes a villain of him, where they're like, this psychopath made games. So it'd be weird to make a villain of him and then hire him at your new pizzeria. So I hesitate, but it is an interesting point, and you are forgiven for bringing it up. Let's see, Kenzie Byers, Sin. I believe Michael never died in the FNAF 6 fire. I don't know, but to me there isn't that much proof for me to believe it. You are forgiven for your sin. I think you did. Now, granted, I made a whole theory today about how there are only 3 burner rooms that we see in FNAF 6. And there are only 3 burner rooms we see in Security Breach. So is it possible that Michael never dies? Yes. But we have very little evidence of him surviving. Furthermore, if the cutscene is from the perspective of Michael looking at his monitor, that room is on fire. So I lean to him dying, but I see it. Like, I see where you're coming from, and you are forgiven for that sin. Well, thank you, Leon. I'm Thesis today. Theory Jesus. Bird McTurd with the incredibly kind €2. Existence of Mini Rena implies existence of Rena. You're forgiven. That's really funny. I'm just calling the Night 4 Springlock suit Arena from now on. That's Rena. You know what? You're incredibly tuned. If there's a Mini Rena, that means there is a Rena. Okay, who is next? Minty Fresh. I personally believe that if Remnant never existed, then there would be no actual way for the crying child to ever possess Golden Freddy / Fredbear. He didn't die in Fredbear's mouth, but in a hospital. Yeah, I think that's fair. You're forgiven. The fact that he dies later, but still likely ends up in Golden Freddy, does imply Remnant. Like, that makes a lot of sense. Or, you know, I can't think of any other explanation for that. No, that's very fair. You're forgiven. Piz plays. The withered animatronics might not be possessed because the phone guy line in FNAF 2. They even started retrofitting the old animatronics with some of the new technology, i.e. the facial stuff. I see that, Piz plays. I hesitate. I still think there are souls within the withered animatronics because of the sight teaser that we get that says something borrowed, something new. And then in the games that it says that the pieces from the withered animatronics are used to repair the new animatronics. So that'll explain why soul gets put into those newer animatronics. I believe we have a super chat to read. We do. Chapo, another incredibly kind 5R. Do Gregory even know who is in the elevator? Does he have access to the camera? In Gregory's mind, there's a 50% chance the Mimic is going up instead. No, I'm 90% sure there is a camera in the elevator. I think I remember seeing that. And even if there isn't, he does say he's talking to Cassie in that conversation. So it'd be weird for him to talk to Cassie without knowing she's in there. But you're forgiven for the interpretation. Let's see. Cuckoo for Goku Puffs. Decent username. Sister location took place before FNAF 2. Mangle was Funtime Foxy. There's no other good answer from Mangle. Also, its text in FNAF World implies it. I disagree. I do not think Mangle and Funtime Foxy are the same. I think the books do make that implication, but it would be weird to me that we have Toy Chica, Toy Freddy, Toy Bonnie, Funtime Foxy, and not just Toy Foxy. Like, that feels strange to me, that it wouldn't be just Toy Foxy. Sister location could happen before FNAF 2. That's totally possible. I don't think Funtime Foxy is Mangle, though. But you are forgiven. Do you think, Red the Saber Wolf, do you think Monty was framed? Like our theory is that Vanny put in a report that Glamrock Bonnie went to Monty Gator Golf, then either did it herself or had someone hit Glamrock Bonnie over the head. Well, here's the thing, Red Saber Wolf. A lot of people keep putting a lot of agency into these animatronics, and while they do have a personality, they are programmable robots. So, frankly, I do think Monty killed Bonnie, but I don't think Monty killed Bonnie because he wanted to or had agency to do it. I think Vanny needed to get rid of Bonnie for some reason and programmed Monty to go and get rid of Bonnie. Simple as. And then Vanny just moved him afterwards. Monty was just the weapon Vanny used. Jeremy Morris with the incredibly kind $2 super chat. Is the bite of 87 even important anymore? Frankly, no. I can't think of a single reason why. It's fun to think about, and it's very memeable, but it really, as far as we know, has no lore implications. It's just kind of a fun thing. But you know what? You're forgiven for bringing it up. Long Fishy for the incredibly kind €5. Those are pounds. 5 pounds. Lastly, first 3 books, very relevant. Rest are a different perspective on the game's events. Security breach, what do you think? What do you think about Mike and the staff meeting? I agree with your book interpretation. What do I think about Mike and the staff? I have yet to find convincing evidence that Michael Afton is involved at all with Security Breach. I think he is long gone. As far as the staff meeting goes, I'm still of the opinion that it's Vandy's way of tying up loose ends right before they fully switch to the staff bots. I think that makes the most sense. Okay, we are going to continue. I'm out of water, and I'm very thirsty. I just got 2 super chats. I'll read those, and then go get water. I'll be right back, and we will continue with the sin forgiving. Corey Bear with $5. A bit of all Security Breach endings are real. Car battery, powered elevator, and ruin. Comics are Gregory processing the events he experienced. Last one, promise. Okay, thank you again, but do look out for yourself. Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I think a little bit of all of them happening makes a lot of sense. You are forgiven. I think that's very valid. Granite Light with the incredibly kind $20. Incredibly kind $20. Jesus. Thank you. That's way too much, but thank you. Cassie's dad in the Bonnie Mask bully. Wait, Cassie dad is the Bonnie Mask bully in FNAF 4 because he has the same skin tone and red shirt. He's around in the early era, so he could have collected those old lunchboxes. Teenager in 1983, would be in his 60s by Security Breach, and he likes Bonnie. Honestly, we were talking about this earlier. I forgive you. That's all pretty good evidence. And like I mentioned before, it's one of those theories that isn't necessarily super strong, but it doesn't really change or affect anything if it's wrong. So like, sure, why not? Why did my chat break? My on-screen chat is up. There it goes. So yeah, sure, why not? And last super chat before I go get water. FusionZGamer with incredibly kind $12. Can I DM you some theory ideas on Twitter or socks? I really don't look a lot at, I assume that's Discord. I really don't look a lot at my DMs, to be honest. Your best bet on reaching me, probably go into the Discord and then go to the questions for Rye channel and ask it there. I do get there occasionally. I'm going to go get water. I'll be right back. Go, I don't know, read a FNAF book while I'm gone. Sorry, folks, I'm back. I have more water now. Readjusting some bit. There we go. Let me just make a quick post to Twitter, and I will get back into the chat. Someone raised a great point. Exclamation mark. If you would like to make fan art of anyone involved, since there are so many wonderful communities, comma, use I gotta make sure I spelled tournament right. I'm making a Twitter post about the stream tomorrow. Hold on. Tournament. Is that how you spell tournament? Cool. It's a big word. That's a big word for Elmo. Okay. Quote tweeted that. So yeah, I just tweeted out, but something to pay attention to if anyone's excited for tomorrow's stream with all those creators doing Crash Team Racing and you wanted to make fan art of it, use hashtag CTRCreatorTourney on Twitter so I can see it, and I'll try to display as many as I can find. I know it's super short notice, but you know. Okay, did I miss any super chats? I don't think so. So let's get into the chat. Silly little man, hee hee. I think that if the Brazil ending would be pretty interesting if it was canon, because it's the only one without a cliffhanger ending. I don't think it's the canon one though, just saying. I do. And yeah, I think it makes the most sense. Because again, like I said, since Elevator and Scooper have essentially the same outcome, Mimic escapes, Cassie questionably alive, Brazil feels separate, so I think Brazil ending could be the canon one, and it would lead to Cassie basically becoming the next Vanny. But you are forgiven. Corey Bright, at Rightos, the puppet of the Scooper /J. True, you are not forgiven, you're going to hell. No, you are forgiven. Theory Hell, aka Twitter. Jen shares, I think there's some sort of curse that started with the bite of 83 that keeps the Aftons and Fazbear around. I could see that. We don't have any evidence for it, but it's like an interesting train of thought. Emmy Layton, mod in chat. So if the robots are programmable, why was Freddy programmed to be so friendly, but Roxy kind of wasn't? And if their programming got corrupted with the glitch trap virus, oh, where'd it go? Why is Freddy still friendly? So we actually get an answer for this in the books. In the Storyteller, the Mimic One virus begins corrupting the animatronics, and their programmed personalities become way too much. So, like, Roxy was programmed to be, like, a little full of herself, a little competitive, but then when the glitch trap virus seeps in, she becomes a narcissist. She becomes aggressive. And that kind of goes with everyone. And then why Freddy wasn't infected? Well, there's two reasons for that. Security Breach presents the safe mode explanation in the beginning that when he boots into safe mode, it flushes out Mimic One. But then in Ruin, he has that prototype stamp on his foot, which could further explain it. But you are forgiven, Emmy. Crypto with the 5, send me to Theory Hell thesis. I banish you to post your most controversial theory to Twitter, and then take that Twitter post and put it to the r/FNAF Theories subreddit, and prostrate yourself in the comments. Crashmaster with the incredibly kind $20. Jesus Christ, you've given so much tonight. Thank you. Is Michael the one in UCN? Certain voice lines don't make sense for it to be William, and Mike has seen all the animatronics in some way, while William wouldn't have. I hate it, but it's worth considering. Also missed the last one. Oh, I did. I'll have to go back, but thank you. Sorry about that. There's an argument to be made, and you're forgiven for making that argument. I disagree. Mainly because of the Old Man Consequences audio that seems to be shouting Mike Henry, which would mean William is the one shouting it. But with the theory that Michael was helping William, that is possible as well. Shit. My thing isn't gonna... Crashmaster, I'm looking at chat. Just put it into chat regularly, because for some reason it's not letting me scroll up high enough to see. Titan29 with the crypto kind $5. About to send a 3-part theory, $5 each. I mean, you don't gotta. Just put it in chat, but thank you. Very abbreviated and annoying to read, but hard to get across otherwise. Sorry, have fun with this. Well, thank you. You don't have to. You can just do it in chat. I'll do my best to find you. You're forgiven, though. Okay. Jack A, I don't know. Sin, maybe in Ruin, Chica is nice, because when she jump scares you, she's confused and maybe trying to help, but you may say, oh, but she hits you, but she may be trying to help Cassie up. I could see that. Somebody pointed out recently, I'm trying to remember who. Who said it? I want to credit them. I can't think of it, so I won't say it. But it has to do with Chica possibly being nice. Oh, you know what it was? It was Impulse Evan. When he reacted to one of my videos, he pointed out that Chica and Monty both, like, attack you and then give up. Which could imply that they're also, like, having a friendly program clash within them. It was the same about UCN, just more money. Crash Rusher! Stop! Thank you, but stop! Okay. S. Freeman 0930. The costumes in the Mimic Bunker are older designs of Chica and Orville the Elephant, both theorized to be created by Henry. That's a good point, S. Freeman. You are forgiven. That is a really good point. I might use that at some point. Forgive me, I might forget to find your username. But if I ever mention that in a theory and I don't mention you, feel free to @ me on Twitter and I'll retweet it. Sorry. Titan29 with the Cryptocam 5. Alley before game. Roof real ending with Freddy upgrade. Roof lead. Okay, okay, we got this. We got this. Alley before game. Okay, so we're talking about the endings. The alley happens before the game. The roof is the real ending with the Freddy upgrade. The roof leads to ruin and security installs. Animatronics rebuilt. Gregory takes broken Freddy, only part of the Pizzaplex burns. Car. Greg gets Proto Freddy that was used as Mr. Hippo's animatronic. Disassemble leads into PQ, not in Pages because Disassemble is the same ending. Vanny survives. I see where you're going with this. I like it. I don't know if I fully agree with it. I think the thing that I honestly makes the most sense is the alleyway ending happening before security breach. But the question, it still begs the question why Gregory was running in the first place. And I'll get to your next one because I got to do Cody Nelson with the Crypto Guy $5. Scott/SteelWolves lying about the amount of retcons in FNAF. Every game retcons the game before it. Almost every FNAF game was supposed to be the last. I see where you're coming from, but I do disagree that just because a game is supposed to be the last one, a sequel to it is necessarily a retcon. To me, continuing a story that was already mostly over isn't a retcon, it's just continuing the story. And then the last, Titan29. Thank you again for the 5. Vanny probably took Remnant, hence survives. Gregory uses the head to repair Freddy. Final is Burn Trap. Freddy re-upgraded, animatronics re-destroyed, hence redesigned and ruined. That's not a bad theory, Titan. Honestly, if you flesh that out and make it a Reddit post, that, like, I recommend it. I forgive you. That's a really interesting theory and an interesting take on the endings. I don't know if I agree, but it's one of those theories that's worth making and it's worth talking about just to brainstorm a little. You know what I mean? Like, we're doing a fun bit here where I'm forgiving theory sins, but there really aren't theory sins. Even if you make a super outlandish theory, it's still worth talking about because it might inspire a really solid theory. Like today's theory. Do I necessarily think that today's theory is true? No, it could be wrong. It probably is wrong. But I've already noticed people being like, I don't think your theory is true, but the idea that Lefty survives is interesting, and then go off on something else. And that's what theorizing is about. That's what this community is about. It's just putting shit out there and seeing what sticks and seeing what people take with that and go with it. That's what we're here for, baby. Thank you for the $5, Jeremy Morris. If Gregory's drawings are true, how did he have time to draw them since Cassie physically finds them? Well, he could have been drawing them as GGY. In other words, for those who don't know, the books imply... Wait, the music tears. Is the music really funny? Oh, it's just the orchestral music still. I kind of forgot I was playing. I don't have my headphones on because it doesn't fit with the crown. The books imply that Gregory was like Vanny before the events of Security Breach, and if that's true, he would have been at the Pizzaplex for a long time. And I think the room in the daycare implies that as well. I think the room in the daycare is where Gregory was staying while he was Vanny. They both had their own little burrow, as it were. Crashmaster with the incredibly kind 10. Theory from Dino Gamer. Well, thank you, very kind. Vanny is still corrupted and ruined because we can still see spray paint of Vanny in the Pizzaplex, and Vanny spray paints. Also, the Princess Quest machine is a lie. Stop spamming Dino. Well, thank you, Crashmaster. The mod's already got it, but thank you, very kind. And Dino, thank him later. Charlie Bean, if you have a Twitter account, at me on Twitter. If you don't, either put it on the Reddit or the Discord, and I'll find it. But I'm on Twitter most often, so that's your best bet. I think I've seen you on Twitter. Also, that was fast. Jesus Christ. Okay. I see what you mean, because the spray paint happens after the Pizzaplex collapses, which would imply Vanny is still there. But I really do think Princess Quest is canon. It's something I'll have to think about, Dino. That's a great point. You are forgiven for the theory, you're not forgiven for spamming. Sin, Sammy Emily could be Cassie's dad. Cassidy, shut the fuck up. Okay, you are forgiven, but Jesus Christ, we don't even know if Sammy Emily is real in the books, let alone the games. Oh, it's a spicy one. You are forgiven, but god damn is that spicy. Space Ace Alex, you've given enough. Stop, but thank you. Theory, anytime a fan theory gets too popular, even if it's right, the story changes because that keeps things going, half joking. I disagree. I've heard that a lot. MatPat gets accused with this a lot, where it's like, oh, FNAF keeps changing its story because he'll guess it right, and then they'll last minute change something to surprise everyone and make him wrong. I don't think that's true. I really doubt that Scott or Steelwool has ever changed the story to fuck over a random theorist. That does not seem true to me. And I also don't think Ruin was you didn't say this. I don't think Ruin was a retcon of Security Breach. I think it was planned all along. It was just done somewhat weird. Jeremy Morris, $2. Fair, still weird he drew Vanny dying. I mean, that does back up. Like, if he was GGY, he would be, like, kind of an evil bastard. Because in GGY, he kills, like, he leads therapists and students to their death into the Pizzaplex. So, like, he's not a good person in GGY. I do love all the comics where it's just Gregory, like, on the ground, kicking his feet, drawing, and then Vanessa leans over, like, what you drawing there, bud? And he just holds up her graphic death. Look at it! And she's like, cool, thanks. Like, those are so good. Every time I see one of those comics, I love it. Okay. Yellow Skarmory. Sin, I don't think Glamrock Bonnie exists in Tales. We only ever see Monty in the band and never even get a mention of him. I think we'd have heard of him by now in Tales if he did exist there. That's interesting. I'll be honest, I haven't finished all of the Tales books. I've read the important ones, but I missed a couple of the early ones, like the stories in the early ones. So I don't know if that's 100% true, but if that's true, that is very interesting. You're forgiven. Someone keeps putting bats. I want to read these bats. Miss Molly at Disney. The Immortal and the Restless is being literal when it says Clara is Vlad's mistress, and implies that Michael is the illegitimate child of William. That could explain his mistreatment to William, because he does kind of like, really, like, William's a terrible father, but he's a terrible father to Michael. So that could explain that. It's interesting. You are forgiven. Photixel FN, I believe. Do you think the Mimic uses Endo 01 as its body? No. I've seen that theory a lot. I don't see any correlation between Endo 01 or Endo 02 with the Mimic. I think the Mimic is a mishmash of several different endoskeletons. Maybe Endo 01 and 02 are in there somewhere, but I think it's just any piece that could fit, it put it on. Because like every piece on that thing looks different. But you are forgiven. The boy wonder, there's a chance Vanessa is working for Afton in the movie, and that she might betray him near the end only to get injured by him, which is why we see her in the hospital bed with Mike by her side. That's fair. I still think in the movie that, because Vanessa knows what's going on. So I don't know if Vanessa is involved with William, but I think she might be the local cop by there. I do still hold strong that I think Michael and Abby are William's children, and it's actually Michael Afton and Elizabeth Afton. And I think that the Mary Stuart Masterson's character, who, spoilers, I'll put this hand down when I'm done spoiling it. One of the synopses called it Mike's aunt. I think that's actually not Mike's aunt. I think that is Mrs. Afton. And it's like a disguise she's using like William Afton used Steve Raglan. Anyway. Did I miss a super chat? I feel like I missed one. Yes, Crash Master with incredible $2. FNAF isn't a universe anymore, it's a multiverse. It always has been. You know, the astronaut meme, is this a multiverse? Always has been. But thank you for the $2, very kind. You are forgiven. Emma Lonan? I'm just gonna hit him. I'm gonna hit every pronunciation I can think of. Emma Lonan. At Rytoast, I always wondered why Bellora's eyes are always closed. Could it be she has a green and blue eye like Tiger Rock and Miss Afton's behind it all? No, because they're not always closed. They're almost entirely always closed, but in her jump scare, she opens them, and they're the same color. Interesting idea, though. You are forgiven. Jiro Mochizuki is Help Wanted 2 in universe events or virtual like the first one. I feel like Help Wanted 2 is probably going to be virtual like the first one. But it's interesting because it could be real world events, because like I don't know what else they would do. They kind of already touched on almost all of the games, so they're kind of running out of games to do if they do it again. I don't know. We'll see. TBTV Studio, you are forgiven. TBTV Studios with another incredibly kind 10. You've given a lot. Please slow down for your own sake, but thank you. I believe the crying child dies first, and so Sister Location Bunker was built after. The Keep Out is 1983, so at least the bunker was built then. William builds it to keep eyes on Fredbear's and his house and Mike. I disagree. I think... No, okay. The bunker could have been built before 1983. And with that, the cameras to watch Mike in that code would have been built after the crying child dies. I don't think the Funtime animatronics were built until at least after the crying child dies. But I could see the bunker being built first. You are forgiven for that. And I feel like, yes, there's another one. Hexadecimal with Incredible Kind 5. The DCI was done by the Mimic, and that's why it doesn't fit into the MO of Afton, who was already trapped FNAF 3 minigames Mimic is Shadow Bonnie. You know, for a moment you had me. I almost fully agreed with you, except in the Save Them minigame in FNAF 2, we see the purple guy at the end of it, which is William Afton. Unless that's a retcon. If that's a retcon, that's fine, and I could see that. And that does make... That perfectly solves a lot of issues. But it is a retcon. That's interesting. You're forgiven. I might make a short about that. I'm gonna... print screen. I'm gonna take a screenshot and send it to myself, so if I make a theory on that, I'll shout you out. That's actually really interesting. Hadn't thought of that. Huh. That's a really good point. Like that solves a lot of issues with the timeline, but that would be a retcon. That's interesting. Lefty with the Incredible Kind 5. What if Sammy Emily is the owner of Mega Pizzaplex? God, Sammy might not even be real in the books, let alone in the games. You're not forgiven. Theory held to you. Put it on r/FNAF theories and prostrate yourself in the comments. You're forgiven. I don't think it's true. It's possible, but God, if Sammy's in the games, we're boned. Lol, yeah. I believe Scott never knew what the lore was going to be 100%, just had a vague idea and modeled the next games on theories he liked the best. I would say that's true up until, like, FNAF 3. I think FNAF 1, he just took a shot in the dark, made up some cool lore. FNAF 2, he kind of doubled down on it. By FNAF 3, I think he had a vague idea of some of the story. FNAF 4, he nailed it down, and then he realized people didn't like what he nailed down. By FNAF Sister Location, I feel like he had a story in mind by then. Chaotic Max with the incredibly kind 10 Canadian. What if all Security Breaches endings are kind of canon? Putting Rune's comic pages in order tells a story. If a specific order, they are numbered and not in the order you find them. That's a good point. Someone did like 4 super chats just a little bit ago giving their interpretation of it, and I really liked it. And that's good supporting evidence for that idea. The fact that those comic pages are numbered and not in the number you find them. No, that's actually really good supporting evidence for that. Crashmaster with the incredible kind $10 is happiest day the canon ending anymore. I don't think so now that Charlie is still around by FNAF 6 and arguably in Security Breach with Nightmare Yone. Unless at the very end, unlikely, it's probably not. It's a great point, Crashmaster. Luckily for you, I've got my religious texts right here that give you an excellent reason for why happiest day, I do believe, is still canon. And some supporting evidence for this, Charlotte Emily's page. Have your cake and eat it. Charlotte also appears in the Happiest Day minigame in FNAF 3, which gains its full lore significance only when the cake endings have been achieved. Once they are, Charlotte, wearing the puppet mask, encounters 5 children wearing the masks of various animatronics. The children, including Charlotte, vanish, the masks drop, and 6 balloons rise to indicate they've been released. Charlotte's spirit lingers on, as more spirits are still trapped inside metal prisons, and Afton is still present, which is why she is still active in Pizza Simulator inside of Lefty. So the books say that, like, she remains. So I think the happiest day ending is canon, just Charlie doesn't leave. I'm trying to catch up on the super chats. Here we go. Puff for the $5. VR2 game is a cover-up Pizzaplex collapse. Interesting. I could see that. I don't hate that. Oh, you know, you're forgiven, Puff. Cryptid Prince with $2. Sammy is the mimic. Cryptid? Cryptid. You're lucky you're a mod. I am in your walls right now, Cryptid. You're not forgiven. Theory hell with you. Am I caught up on super chats? Am I caught up? I think I'm caught up. Okay, I'm caught up. Back to chat. Corey Bite, I would love to. The issue is, like, once you get past UCN, doing lore without the books gets very difficult. Oh, real quick, TBTV Studios, the equivalent kind of $2. I don't think Henry built the mediocre melodies. I mean, fair. I think it makes sense for him to do that, but we don't have solid evidence either way. So that's fair. I think the closest evidence we have is the fact that all the mediocre melodies, or like most of them anyway, speak to us. But then again, it seems that Casty would use them. So, like, I don't know. It's strange. But you're forgiven. Potato Pickle. Sin. Curse of the Dreadbear has been retconned. The Vanny Mask stuff in Dreadbear is no longer canon. Also, Tales books are canon and represent canon things, no exceptions. William is a good dad. Yeah, so Sins. First off, William's not a good dad, not forgiven. The Tales books are canon, represent canon things, no exceptions. I still hesitate on that, but you are forgiven for that one. I don't think the Curse of Dreadbeard have been retconned. Now, there's been some... Think about it, right? There's been some issues with the Vanny Mask that we see in Security Breach, and then the Vanny Mask we see in Help Wanted, in the trailer, and in Ruin. I think it makes sense the more I think about it. The Vanny Mask and Security Breach is used by someone that's already fully taken over by Afton. The Vanny Masks we see in Dreadbear, in the trailer, and in Ruin is the mask used to corrupt someone. I think the hard shell brown and white rabbit mask creates Vanny, whereas the Vanny Mask and Security Breach is just what she used to get around. Emma Lonin? Again, not sure. Emma, with the incredible kind of $2. Okay, but why are the Aftons British? Unfortunately, they were born that way. And then there's a $5 from Lefty, incredibly kind, $5. Again, what if Henry Emily is the owner of the Mega Pizzaplex? It's possible. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, if he's alive, it would make sense because he'd be the only, like, higher up still alive in Fazbear. I don't know how I feel about it, but it is possible. It's very possible. Okay, back to chat. Let's see. Oh, shoot, Puff, did I miss one from you? Let me scroll up. Also, sorry about that, but thank you for the other $2. Next time, try to @ a mod, and you should be able to get one of them to, like, force me to re-look up. Okay, Puff, it's been buried. Oh, wait. No, are you talking about VR2 game is to cover a Pizzaplex, Puff? Because I did. I said that that's an interesting theory, and I could see that. I don't know how I feel about it, but I could see that. If that's the one you're talking about, I did get that one. Mr. @David Barron YT, one of the racers in tomorrow's Creator Charity Tournament at 3 p.m. EST. You should be there with incredibly kind 5 Canadian. As a professional FNAF theorist, I have a theory. The mimic is mimicking a mimic, which means there are 2 mimics mimicking other mimics. Mimic-verse. David Barron, I regret to inform you. I'm just going to read an excerpt real quick. No, it was an S. You're good, Puff. Also, thank you for the additional $2. You really did not have to. David Barron, I'm going to read from Nexi, number 6. Apparently, this notebook this is from the epilogues. Apparently, this notebook belonged to one of the engineers on the original Fazbear Entertainment animatronic creation team, the ones who built all the characters. I can't make it all out, but from what I can tell, when the team created the Mimic line, there was an entire line of Mimic animatronics. There already is a Mimic-verse. You are forgiven. Oh, we got a lot of super chats. Okay, let me catch up. Space Ace with the incredibly kind $10. Like the confessional in my hometown, if I show up too often and write super chats with half-coherent theories, I could be banned from the church / silly. Also, Roxy being heroes and not the good guy Foxy. Yes. No, you're fine. But do look out for yourself, because that's a lot. But thank you. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, I don't know if it was necessarily planned to be a hint to, like, be a nod to good guy Foxy. But I like that idea, and it doesn't really harm anything for thinking about it, so you're forgiven. And Puff, like I said, you're forgiven. Thank you for the additional $2. TV Studios, the incredibly kind 5. It makes more sense if Afton made Music Man? Midnight Motorist? Hold on. Because that's what the Vengeful Spirit uses them to talk. It also... Oh, Mediocre Melodies. Got it. Okay. It makes more sense if Afton made the Mediocre Melodies, because that's why the Vengeful Spirit uses them to talk. It will also go along with William being worse than Henry. That's fair. Because if Henry made the original characters and William was making the cheap copy, that could be, again, Henry being better than William. Yeah, no, that's actually a pretty good idea. That's solid. You're forgiven. Paige Turner, great username, with the $10. Thank you, very kind. I just wanted to say hi while I'm on break. I'll be back for the VOD. I do have a question. How much of the OG games do you think is real versus game fabrication by the game devs? Great question. You're forgiven. Also, good luck at work. Rise the proletariat. But, I don't know yet. I think the majority of the OG games are real. I think the game indie dev angle is less to, like, just retcon everything that came before it. And more so, it's to just give Steel Wool and Scott the excuse to do slight retcons and move past it. Trying to catch up on these super chats. Arbiter of Mountain Lyle with the incredibly kind 10 Australian. Glitch Trap is based on one of the suits seen in the basement, which could have been Afton's first suit. Yes, somebody also mentioned that. I think that is a great connection. I totally forgot. I didn't think to connect Glitch Trap, a stitched suit, to the stitched suits we see in the basement. That is a great connection. And, now for nothing, but we'd have a bird, elephant, lion, rabbit. That's a 4-character band. That could be the original band that inspired Fredbear's. The baddest with the incredibly kind 5 Canadian. Books are scary. Ah, true. True and based, you are forgiven. Jacques the Dog Lover, with the incredibly kind 5 Canadian. There are 2 Goxy Bros? Foxy Bros. Oh, duh. You just mistyped. Sorry, it took me a second. There are 2 Foxy Bros in FNAF 4, or 1 with 2 masks. You are forgiven. I generally think in FNAF 4 the sprite work just wasn't really consistent. So I don't think there's 2 Foxy Bros. I think Scott was just a little inconsistent. The end. Foxy Go 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 Pink Guy is the mimic. No. No. You're forgiven? I disagree. Why is... Are you guys getting lag? Because on my end it says there's lag. I hope there's not too much lag. Sorry about that. I don't know why. I've got good internet. Okay, sorry. Anyway, back to this. $5 from Crashmaster. Think you'll do any FNAF fan game theories? They're probably not as elaborate as main FNAF, but maybe a Candy's Pop Goes Joy Creation theory. I've done them in the past. I've done a couple Pop Goes theories. The problem with doing fan games theory, there's 2 issues. One, it's less that there's not as elaborate and more that just, like, it's harder to get resources on it. So it's just harder for me to do research. So people are saying there's a little lag. Yeah, I don't know why that is. I guess luckily there's no gameplay. What is going on? Drop frames due to network. I don't have to stop the music. There was for a little bit. Let me close some tabs. Okay. I closed a couple of tabs and some background programs. Hopefully that helps. I don't know why it was weird. At least the audio seems fine. Okay. And also, the other issue, frankly, with doing fan game theories is they don't perform really well on the channel. And since this is my main form of income, I can't really risk it. Like, I have to make sure they do well because I need to put food on the table. I'll probably end up doing more fan game videos on the second channel because that doesn't need to do as well. But that's kind of where my head is at, if that makes sense. But thank you for giving. Because, like, I would love to do a theory video on Percy's playtime, or playtime with Percy. It was so good. But if I do a video on it, it's going to underperform. And then I get less money for the month, and I need money to live. That's how the world works. That is how the world works. That's going to be stuck in my head all day. TBTV Studios with the incredible kind $2. Not a theory. How do you stay motivated for doing YouTube? Now I have to because it's my full-time job and I need to feed my children. But before, it really just, it was a mixture of passion and discipline. Because the trick to YouTube, and the trick to anything really, it's not necessarily motivation. Motivation comes with passion, and motivation goes away when you do work. The real trick to good productivity is manifesting motivation, but honing discipline. Because you won't always be motivated, but you're going to have to do work even when you're not motivated. And when you have to do work and you're not motivated, you need the discipline to do it. I'm still figuring that out. I've got really bad procrastination. I've got this this Dalmatian stone on my desk for mental clarity, and I have it right at my monitor. Whenever my mind starts to drift, I try to focus on that. It's right next to my citrine, citrine talisman for creativity. I'm a crystal guy, if you couldn't tell. Me and my wife are Wiccan. Anyway, that helps me, but I've got ADHD, so it's an uphill battle. I wish you the best. Arbiter of Mount Lyell, again, the incredible kind 5 Australian. Take more of my money, non-binary toast person. I would also not trust Scott's minigames due to the fact Scott's sprite work was awful and inconsistent. Yeah, the minigames, using the minigames nowadays is rough, because they really have some rough, inconsistent sprite work. JDW, hi Toast, I have a theory headcanon that Carl the Cupcake, aka Mr. Cupcake, aka Cupcake, is possessed by Susie's dog. What do you think? Probably not. I mean, I don't think so. You're forgiven. Again, we keep going back to this. There are some theories that there is not a lot of evidence for, but are perfectly harmless. I put that theory in the box. So you are forgiven for it. And I think we got a couple of super chats. We did. Space Ace Alex with another incredibly kind $10. The Digital Sisters. If Brazilla's canon could be Charlie and Cassie, digitized and ties together by their fates in the system. That's actually a really valid point. The Digital Sisters could be Charlie and Cassie tied in the system. That is a very valid point. I don't know how I feel about it, but you are forgiven, and that's an interesting point. Cryptid Prince with a couple of $5. I hope you learned your lesson. I did, and it hurt. What a good song. I just makes me want to play My Friendly Neighborhood again, frankly. Dark Trap version 1. My theory: Stitch Wraith canon mimic take William's body and become Burn Trap. Gets taken by Blob is mimic victims from Epilogue. What do you think? I don't think Stitch Wraith is canon. I really, really don't. I don't see a good reason for it to be canon. But I do think Burn Trap is mimic, gets presented the remains of Springtrap, and puts on the suit. I think that makes a lot of sense. But I could see Burn Trap and Mimic being two different characters, so it could go either way. Hint. I feel like Ruin is probably the end of Cassie, and that Roxy calling Cassie ended up being the Mimic. Vanessa being trusted by Gregory is way too convenient. I could see that hint. I forgive you for it. I don't like it, unfortunately. I like it. I don't like it because I don't want it to be true, because that makes me sad. But it's probable. Pedro Gonzalez, I think the last part between Cassie and Roxy, the happy birthday, never happened, and that was Mexus and Stop the Mimic. The mask was playing with her since the beginning and know that she likes Roxy. I hesitate, because we see Roxy earlier recognize Cassie. So I don't think that's the case. I think the Mimic tried to... Here's the thing. I think the Mimic was the one that ran over Roxy with a forklift, because the Mimic tries to run over Cassie with a go-kart. So I see the Mimic trying to take Roxy out for some reason, and it can't. So it runs it over, but Roxy's still activated, so it just wants us to deactivate her personally. I'm refreshing my my chat. For whatever reason, it just wasn't working correctly. So I refreshed it. Sorry for the office jump scare. Crashmaster with another incredibly kind 5. Was the DCI really necessary, and did they possess the toy animatronics? It feels like they were dropped off compared to Charlie the MCI kids. Yeah, it feels like some messy storytelling. It's one of those things where I don't know if the DCI was intended, but accidentally was created. Because I think if Scott didn't make Foxy go, 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 the DCI wouldn't be canon. Because it would have just all been the MCI. I think that might have been a mistake originally, and he's just stuck with it, and that's why he kind of never did much with it. I don't know. It's worth considering. You're forgiven, though. Jeremy Morris, Sin. Assuming Security Puppet was fully Henry's creation, it has faceplates like the Fun Times. Another hint of Henry making the Fun Times, and they often stealing them after Henry restaurants fail. Yeah, FNAF actually is a really good video on a lot of reasons why the Fun Times could have been created by Henry. I recommend checking it out. You are forgiven. Bonnie, what's on your head? My theory crown for being thesis. Theory Jesus. Oh. Sorry, folks. My back is just killing me. This has been probably the most active stream I've ever done. And I did a 12-hour stream. Something about consistently reading out loud and using my brain wearing this goddamn tin crown is killing me. So I'm leaning back, folks. The pizza belt, it's becoming a pizza sash because my tummy hurts. It's kind of a way better costume, actually. I don't know why I didn't do that from the start. But we're leaning back, folks. We're leaning. And I will adjust the camera accordingly. Womp. Okay. All right. Blitzblast. I was really curious about Helpy. He tells us basically he can't help us down there where the Mimic lies, but we can still use the mask at some places at the Mimic part. Why can't Helpy help us there? Yeah, that's another thing, because that really points to Helpy and Mimic being two separate entities. I don't know, because not only do they bicker, but you can't speak to Mimic. You can't speak to Helpy near the Mimic. It's strange. I don't think Helpy is being infected by the Mimic. Something else is infecting him. Strike IKSP. I think there's always been two Fox Wolf characters and that Mangle was the original Roxy, maybe not under that name. I could see that. I think I disagree with it, but I see where you're coming from, and you are forgiven. Crashmaster with another incredibly kind $5. Way too much. Is RWQFSFASXC Shadow Bonnie's name a code of some kind? I always thought it could actually spell something, but I'm not sure. It could be nothing. I think Scott has officially come out and said he just smashed his keyboard a little bit and made it. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure he came out and said that. But you're forgiven. Pardon me. I've drank a lot of water. Let's see. George Bear. Quite a few people think that the Blob is the AR games anime. Quite a few people think... Oh, my chat scrolled. George Bear. Quite a few people think that the Blob is the AR games animatronics, but if so, how did they all get down there to below the FNAF 6 location, and why did they go there? Okay, I see what you're thinking. I forgive you. I think the basic thinking was, the blob kind of collected things throughout the Pizzaplex, so it was more of a matter of all the AR animatronics that were lying around in displays and things were eventually collected by the Tangle and found. But it's up to speculation, so I forgive you. Alchemist, you plays Henry in FNAF 3. Wait, I think I just did an Alchemist. I'll do this one, it's fine. He plays Henry in FNAF 3. Fazbear is Henry's property, and he must have had some involvement with Fazbear Frights. He would check all the boxes, and it would make sense for him to want to hunt down after him. I like that theory, but you are forgiven. The activity logbook disputes that, because the activity logbook is Michael's, and has a picture of FNAF 3 in it, so like it implies that Michael was the FNAF 3 protag. Awesome name you have, but thank you. JDW, Fredbear is not Golden Freddy, forgive me. No. You're not forgiven. To theory hell with you. If it's not if Golden Freddy and Fredbear, what else is it? Ooh. Alright, I'm sitting back up. Whoa. My back feels a little bit better. You're fine, JW. I'm not actually mad at you, but what else would it be? Who? Whomst? Tell me who, and I'll consider it. Tine29, you were the one. I was trying to reference you earlier. I could not remember your username. But thank you for the additional $5. I have a video for the theory from earlier. It uses the page order. I wish your Discord was 16 plus. Weird for a FNAF Discord to be 18 plus. I get it though. The main reason the Discord is 18 plus is because I'm 24, soon to be 25. And it just feels weird to be on a Discord server with a bunch of minors. I'd rather just be all adults. And then also safety concerns. Like if there's a weird person on the Discord, but everyone's adults, I can just ban the weird person and we move on. But then if there's a weird person on the Discord and there's minors on the Discord, then it's a bigger issue. You know what I mean? Just safety and ease kind of stuff. Spiral Trigger EX. I think Henry built the Mimic because in FNAF 6 he brings up tearing down animatronics to reuse its parts. It would make sense Henry built him given the Mimic's design without a new character. That's a fair point. I could see Henry being the one who built the Mimic. That's a very valid explanation for that. Oh, a couple super chats. Okay. Axel eats you with the Encrypticon $5. I don't have the theory because you're usually saying what I'm thinking, but I hope you're doing well. Well, thank you. I am. This has been I'm really happy that you guys like this stream. It was kind of like a bit inspired from like Twitter and talking with some people in DMs like, yeah, this could be a funny bit to do. And I was worried that like 20 people would show up and be like, this isn't funny, and leave. I'm really happy that we're having fun with this. Crashmaster with the $10. Very, very kind. Could Roxy have some kind of connection to the Twisted Wolf? Never really thought about it too much, but it felt weird the only other wolf characters from the second novel, and it's Twisted Wolf. I don't think there's a purposeful connection there, but it is one of those things where I'm like, that is weird. You're forgiven, but you know, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I don't see why it would matter, is the thing, you know? Because they do such different things. Alan Grove, could William have been springlocked before and survived like in the Silver Eyes novels, which makes him a little crazy, hence serial murder? Fair. I mean, I wonder if that means he was one of the springlock failures. Like multiple simultaneous springlock failures, he was one of them. I could see that. Yeah, that's interesting. There's something to think about. You're forgiven. I feel like the music got louder. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. Sin. Curbsmeister. My weird theory is that Henry from Pizzeria Simulator is a robot. I have reasons, but a simple one is his acceptance of being burned alive. Unless you're knocked out by smoke, that's a horrible death. It is strange. Like, Henry, level with me. Burning all the animatronics, I get it. Put a easier method in you and Michael's rooms, my god. Like, yes, I plan for you to burn alive. And I'm also gonna burn alive. It's not that deep, Henry. Go an easier route. That's so much. But, Curbs, you are forgiven. Obnoxious. Sammy Emily is working for the Mimic and ran over Roxy. This is a shitpost. Good clarification. You were on thin goddamn ice. You are forgiven. Mason Vlogs. I think the Bobby Dots are secretly possessing Chica, Roxy, and Monty. This is because there's the pink one, the purple one, and the green one. I don't know about Freddy. This is a joke, or is it? I mean, one of them is obsessed with eating. Is that the pink one? If that's true, it's something to think about. It was one of those things where it's like, are they possessing them? Or is it exploring those characters in another light? But you're forgiven. Gilgauze. I personally think FNAF ended in UCN. Forgive me, but really I think it's narratively fitting to end like that. I think that storyline mostly ended in UCN, but I think the games still happened, but you're forgiven. Battensag. Crying Child is Shadow Freddy. He looks exactly the same as Golden Freddy. What if both ghosts are some sort of astral projecting from Fredbear's body? One purple, one yellow. Also, he doesn't attack Mike. That's fair. Yeah, I mean, I could see Shadow Freddy being the agony of the crying child. It's interesting. It's a good thought. You're forgiven, Battensag. Well, thank you for the $5, Crashmaster. Again, way too kind. Look after yourself. I know you throw money at YouTubers, but like, watch after yourself. Thank you, though. Quick shout out to Rytos. Oh, well, thank you. I'm not going to read the rest out loud because that feels self-indulgent, but that means a lot. Thank you very much. I read it all inside, in here. Hexadecimal. One of the two spirits in Golden Freddy is the puppet spirit. Lefty is both Nightmare and Fredbear stand-in. I could see that, but I don't know. I think the puppet spirit is too active to be within Golden Freddy. You're forgiven, but I don't see it. Alpha Cat, thank you for the incredibly kind $10. Hey, Rye, thanks for keeping me entertained during a long late-night shift. Hey, well, I'm glad to help. Rise Proletariat, also base toxicity profile picture. Hopefully, you got the Cassie's dad pun. For anyone who didn't get that, by the way, a lot of people got in the comments, but more people were confused. Toxicity can have the ability technician. That was the pun. It was just a pun on the word technician. That was it. Oh, thank you, Awesome Name. Yeah, the music stopped. It's only a 2-hour video. I'm restarting it. Thank you for calling that out, because I don't have my headphones on. Crypto, the incredibly kind $10 donation because I enjoy getting riled. Stop. Stop it. You've given away too much. Thank you, but stop it. Arbiter of Mount Lyle. Sin/hot take. Cassie's dad is literally no one. Just a technician. Not everything needs to be interconnected. Same with Susie's dog, Miss Afton, etc. I agree to a point. You were forgiven. It's totally understandable to assume that. Susie's dog, Miss Afton, etc. I agree. The reason I think Cassie's dad is important is because she brings him up so much. Like, with how little human characters we get, like, information about, the fact that we get this much information about Cassie's dad makes me feel like he's important. Like, one of the first lines we get in the first chapter is just like my dad's. And then like 3 or 4 different items are descriptions about like, oh, my dad this, my dad that. Like, she talks about him so much that like it feels like he's important. Much more than Susie's dog or Mrs. Afton, I can tell you that much. Craftsmaster, another incredibly kind $5. Theory from Red Death, Helpy is the game's equivalent of Tiger Rock. Crashmaster out here donating for other... Everyone in chat, thank Crashmaster. He's donating for like random people in the chat. If by that you mean a manifestation of Mimic 1, I could see that. Because it would be separate from the Mimic, but a manifestation of it. I think that makes sense. I hesitate, but I see that. Alex K with the incredibly kind $5 saw a vid about the books being canon, but Scott doesn't have Scholastic on a tight leash. Thoughts? Also, there's Springlocks where I work, AMA. Huh? I know Springlocks were real, to be honest with you. So here's the thing. If you want to prove the books are canon, I don't think you can use a Scholastic email or Barnes & Noble Facebook ad as evidence. Because, like, Scholastic and Barnes & Noble, like, Barnes & Noble, people were using a Barnes & Noble Facebook ad. That's not evidence, I'm sorry. Like, some random person wrote that. Scholastic has a little bit more credence, but, like, since when has the Scholastic PR team made decisions about the lore? I think if you want to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that the books are 100% canon, and like no one can assume otherwise, if you want to confirm it, now I need to be clear here. If you want to theorize that they are, that's fine. You've got evidence to do that. There's plenty of evidence to assume that the books are canon and theorize with that. But if you want to tell everybody you know that the books have to be canon and are 100% confirmed, I think you either need Scott or the author's direct say-so or direct conclusive evidence of Edwin, of David, of any of these named characters besides overarching things. And even then, that's a stretch. That's still evidence, because in the Silver Eyes, we have a named character like William Afton, but the Silver Eyes aren't canon. So I think, like, if you want to guarantee it and prove beyond a shadow of a doubt, I think you do need direct confirmation. Otherwise, I think it's valid to theorize assuming they're not, just as it's valid to theorize assuming they are. You know, that's where I'm at. Crashmaster with another random dollar. Thank you. Stop. Thank you. Puff with $5. Shout out to Crashmaster the Goat. True, but also shout out to Puff for like your 5th super chat. Jesus Christ. Thank you. Yeah, Crashmaster, $5 shout out to Puff the boss. Oh, Jesus Christ, Corybite. Corybite, you've given so much goddamn money. What do you do? Well, look after yourself. Thank you, but Jesus Christ. My next video game is like on you. Corby with $20. What do you think about the waiver we signed in Help Wanted 1? It mentions digital consciousness transfer and manifestation of digital characters. Example, 8-Bit Baby and ARSD. Is there more examples in the games or books? Opinion, please. I mean, that's the plot of Help Wanted, right? Like, digital consciousness transferal and manifestation of digital characters. Mimic 1 / Glitch Trap digitally manifests and then transfers its consciousness with ours, creating Vanny. Like, I think that's literally the plot of Help Wanted, so yes, correct. You are not even forgiven, you're just right. Dalton Marr, technically speaking, the Aftons could not actually exist and were made purely for the games to add drama, because I don't believe games past VR mention the Aftons. There's more to this, but not enough room. I misread it. Technically speaking, the Aftons might not actually exist. Like, there's a possibility they don't exist. I misread that. I thought you meant there's no chance. Yeah, you could interpret the Aftons never existed, but I think not only would that require a lot of really strong evidence, I think Steelwool and Scott know how ticked off fans would be if they fully just everything before Help Wanted is not true. That would really piss off the community. And the fact that, like, after FNAF 4, Dream Theory was, like, essentially fully rewritten, I don't know if they would go that far. Jesus Christ, Crashmaster, with the $20. I'm like, how many times do I gotta yell at you? Thank you, but Jesus. Theory from Postal Dude Gaming. Postal Dude Gaming, thank Crashmaster. Jesus Lord. Sin. Michael being the FNAF 2 guard isn't possible, seeing as Michael would have died after or during FNAF 2, and he goes on to look for his dad after he disappears, also after FNAF 2. That's fair. I think I'm still pretty certain. I'm at the point where I think the main guard of FNAF 2, was it Fritz Smith, I believe it was? It was the main guard of FNAF 2, I think is just a random person who dies to the bite of 87. But the custom night one that gets fired on his first day, I think is Michael Afton. Because I think that's Michael Afton going to FNAF 2, trying to find evidence to pin on his father to get him to jail, and he can't find it. That's where I'm at. Kitty Demon Overkill specifically says physical manifestations of digital characters. What if that is what those Help Wanted rooms are? That's a good point. That would explain those Help Wanted rooms. I was just assuming like that was the Mimic practicing or whatever, but I keep forgetting that like the Mimic is locked in the basement the whole time. So like how would it recreate rooms if it was in there? You know what I mean? That's a good point. All right, fair Corey Bite, but just like make sure you're taking care of yourself too. And yeah, someone already mentioned that. Marcelo Jara? Cara? I'll say Marcelo. Marcelo, the text color of the Fredbear plushie is the same as the girl with green eyes in FNAF 4. Fair, but I think that's more of an accident than anything. Like, Scott was pretty inconsistent with sprites back then. I don't think it was purposefully meant to be the same as that girl. Space Ace Alex with another incredibly kind $10. We got some big spenders tonight. Jesus Christ. Everyone is being dragged into the digital world one after another. Now the question is, did FNAF World come before this, after, and all our digitalized characters are going to tie in with FNAF World? You know what it could be? Maybe this is all a layup to FNAF World Update 3. I would love another FNAF World. That'd be dope. Maybe. I still think FNAF World is a game version of Charlie going around after the FNAF 6 fire and just like helping everyone move on. Because UCN and FNAF World are tied with that achievement. And in UCN, one of the only normal voice lines comes from the puppet. And one of those voice lines is, "I don't hate you, but you need to stay out of my way." Out of her way for what? What is she doing? She's doing FNAF World. That's what I think. Swirls of film, neither Gregory nor the Mimic threw Cassie down the elevator. Reason being is because Gregory would need to be at the Pizzaplex to know half the things being said, and the Mimic just doesn't make sense. I don't think Gregory did it, but I do think the Mimic makes sense, because like if it was trying to get into the elevator and it closed, and then it looks down and sees a car battery powering the elevator, just like unhook, elevator falls. I think it makes sense for the Mimic to do it. I think it could go either way. I just lean towards the Mimic. JDW, there are two puppets, Sammy and his sister. Oh god, not again. I mean, to be fair, that could explain the seeming retcon of save him and then it's actually Charlie. But no, I don't see solid evidence for Sammy existing. I forgive you, but I don't see it. Gemini999, could the Vanny mask be the mask used to play Help Wanted by Vanessa in canon? You know, that's not a bad idea. Because realistically, the Brazil ending, Cassie puts it on and sees a fully digitally recreated world. So maybe that was the VR headset that Vanessa used to test out Help Wanted. I could see that. That's not a bad idea. There's not a lot of strong evidence for it, but it's cool. So you're forgiven. Annabelle, do you think we'll get something special for the 10th anniversary next year? Maybe Scott will tell us what's actually canon and what isn't. I don't want him to. I think we're, like, there's no way we get a 10th anniversary of Five Nights at Freddy's and we don't get anything cool for it. I think what I would love, not necessarily, I would love what Pop Goes has in the Pop Goes archive, but for FNAF. So for those who don't know, there's something called the Pop Goes archives, where it's like, it's a game, but it's more so just like a collection of clean assets of every single Pop Goes character, and then just a little paragraph of information about them, directly from the creator. If we could get that for FNAF for the 10th anniversary, I'd become a believer. I would. I'd stop my sit-in ways. Scott, if you somehow make it 2.5 hours into this shitpost of a live stream based on the Pizza Bear game that you made, that kind of pokes fun at your religion, and I don't mean to, so I'm sorry. This is a T for theory. This is not a real cross. T for theory. If you somehow make it here, Scott, I beg you, don't give us the story. You know how much we love theorizing. But just a nudge. A little couple lines about each character. That's all. Something to push us in the right direction. Be lovely. I think it just got a bunch of super chats. Holy shit. Okay. $2 the Siren Prince. Just want to say thank you for your work. Oh, well, thank you. That's very kind. Thank you for the $2. You are forgiven. Alex K with the incredibly kind $2. Who carved rabbit ears into all those staff bots? Great question, Alex K. I think it could have been Vanny before she was turned. It could have been the Mimic guy. You're forgiven. I have no idea, to be honest. Chaotic Max with incredibly kind 10 Canadian. 1 out of 2. I was looking through the FNAF 4 minigames and I noticed that when William Afton appears helping an employee, it's right after a line from the Fredbear plush. He can't do both. Can't be him. Yeah. No, that's... I'll wait for your part 2, but I do have thoughts on that. Oh, I'll talk and maybe your part 2 will confirm or deny what I'm thinking. Oh, wait, there it comes. This would make Save Them the only appearance of Willie with a security badge, but perhaps the security badge tells us it's not William, rather what's easily mistaken in the mind of a child. I could see that. Here's the thing. FNAF 4 has a couple inconsistencies about it, and I think I honestly 100% believe FNAF 4 was meant to tie up everything as the nightmares of a child. What's easily seen in the shadows is misinterpreted by the mind of a child. I fully believe that FNAF 4 planned to end everything as nightmares from a kid. And then there was a lot of community backlash about it, and he had to rewrite the story to make it real with sister location. And I think he mentioned there was a retcon he did with sister location, but it was minor and not many people noticed it. I think that is one of the things he's talking about. William being on screen like a second after the Fredbear plush says something. I think that's just a slight retcon of like, he is talking through it, I can't fix that, but like this is the best explanation I have for it. That's what I think. I could be wrong. That's where I'm at. But you're forgiven. Arbiter of Mount Lyell, again, the incredibly kind 5 Australian, last shout of the night. Pig Patch being a Fazbear Entertainment animatronic technically means he's a Fazbore. True. Also, Pig Patch, best mediocre melody. There is something incredibly ethereally funny about, if you wait by the river long enough, you will see the body of your enemy floating by. Like, that's so funny. The Art of War paired with banjo, match made in heaven. Folks, we've been live for 2.5 hours. I might have to call this at midnight in like a couple minutes from now. My throat is starting to die, and I have a tournament to host tomorrow. So as much fun as I'm having, I might have to end soon. So maybe we'll go for another like 15 minutes, and I'll probably call it just to save my voice for tomorrow. Crashmaster with the incredibly kind $10. I firmly believe that FNAF World is canon. Nightmare Owns lines, I would help you if I could, but my code is being used for a second-rate horror game seems to be part of Help Wanted story. Huh. I forgot about that line. That's a great point. Do you mean it happened, or you mean the game FNAF world exists within the Fazbear universe? I could see that. Clowncat with incredibly kind of $5. What do you think about the carnival plotline being our Fredbear's Family Diner Fredbear's singing show game instead of Circus Babies? I think that's pretty likely. I think my current thinking is that the carnival game will be the origins of Fazbear. Because Steelwool said in that interview they would love to do a Fredbear's game or like a Freddy Origins. And Scott, I'm pretty sure it could have been a lie. It could have been someone photoshopping and not real. But somebody posted to Twitter that Scott trademarked Five Nights at Freddy's Origins or something like that. So I could see Carnival being that Fredbear's singing show, and then we get these plush costumes. I think that makes a lot of sense. But we'll have to wait and see. Because that Origins thing could be completely false, too. Honestly, D. Daniel K., that is pretty funny. Luck God. Oh, and you were forgiven, Clowncat? Clowncat, you were forgiven. Luck God. In FNAF 1 Night 5, Phone Guy is already dead, but we still get a call from him, and it's static and demonic noises like Owen Freddy's. I personally believe this is the Mimic. I could see that. That's one of those things where it puts the Mimic in a weird place in the timeline. But I don't hate it. Like, it's a cool theory. Gilgauze, wait, sorry, I'm back. Could you elaborate about what you meant by the other games still happening? I mentioned earlier the FNAF ended at UCN thing. Different set of events, same thing. Oh, yeah. What I mean is, like, I totally get not liking the story after UCN, but, like, FNAF games still were made post-UCN. So it's still the continuing story, whether you like it or not, unfortunately for you. But I forgive you. Pardon me. I'm drinking sorry for all the burps. I'm drinking a lot of water to save my throat. Bonnie the Bunny, what if Henry made Mexis? Bonnie the Bunny, I've got a wonderful video you can check out on this channel. It came out today. I make that argument. You're forgiven, I agree. Zaxel, Old Man Consequences is Henry. I could see it. I don't know. Old Man Consequences is strange. I could see it being Henry. I don't know how I feel about that, though. You're forgiven. Poo Crew 2, what flavor? Blueberry. I really like the blueberry flavor. Everyone's wanting to know my Air Up flavors. I really like blueberry. I wasn't lying in the ad. To be clear, this is not sponsored. I just use... I like the product. Man. Folks... I just saw another $20. All right, we'll do this last super chat. Very kind $20 super chat from Crashmaster. Might be my final super chat. It will be because I'm about to end stream. It's been a fun stream and wish me luck going back to college on the 28th. Also been building on Debate Great Minecraft server. Everyone go play, planning some great builds soon, hopefully. Yeah, everyone go to the Discord server. There's a Minecraft server. It's pretty cool. Okay. Folks, it has been a wonderfully fun stream, but it's also been 2.5 hours of me just straight talking, and my throat hurts. I may have done theories for your sins, but I'm not going to destroy my throat any further. It's been very, very fun, but I think we might have to end it here. Just because, like, I can feel if I keep going, this is going to be rough. Tell you what, this was a lot of fun, and I'm going to do it again. Maybe I'll make it a monthly stream. I think we could make this a monthly stream. You know what? There's 450 of you. I'm going to announce something else. Real quick, Bird McTurd, $2 for the euro. Byte87 guy lives, says in FNAF on phone calls. True, great point. I don't know what it means for the lore, but true, and you're forgiven. Ryanosuke Akudogawa, $2, incredibly kind. Green tea helps with your throat. It does, and I do have green tea. Thank you for the advice. Vexen with $2 is the air world spear world like UCN and FNAF W. I don't think so. I think the air world is showing us what's real, and I think the glitched things in the Pizzaplex are possibly illusion discs or somehow messing with us because of the occipital transponder. Okay. Now that the super chats are done, folks, there are 440 of you. I'm going to make a Twitter post to traditionally announce it, but you all will get the first scoop. Not only is this going to be a monthly occurrence, maybe I'll do the last Friday of every month. Starting next month, the last Friday of every month, we'll do Thesis Reviews Your Theories. I'm going to do another monthly stream. Now, starting next week, there are going to be 3 streams a week. And we're going to test that for a few weeks to see if I can handle it. And if I can, we're going to graduate to 4 streams a week. But not all of them are going to be on this channel. 2 of the streams will be on this channel. 1 of the streams will be on Rytoost, and it'll be something different. Next week, the first Rytoost stream ever will be Balloons Tower Defense 6 with Pastra and David Barron. It'll be super... I know, it's weird, but it's the perfect way to launch streams on that channel. Now, when I said there was another monthly stream happening, the last Monday of every month, we will be doing a movie night. A monster movie night. Monster Movie Mondays. I will be trying to find a copyright-free, probably very old monster movie that we will watch together on stream, make fun of, have a good time, and do that. But to really celebrate and launch, technically it's paid, but there are free and illegal ways to obtain it outside of the stream, just letting you know. This last Monday of next month, we are going to watch Skinamarink on stream, the horror movie. I don't think I'm going to like it. I have ADHD. I am 99% sure I'm going to hate it. But that means it'll be a fun stream. The problem is, Skinamarink is new and copywritten, so I can't stream it. You can rent it for $4 on YouTube, or you can do something illegal. I'm not saying you should, but it's an opportunity. So if you can get access to Skinamarink, essentially the stream will be me and probably my wife. You'll just see us watching it, and we'll talk to chat and stuff. But we'll be like, all right, 3, 2, 1, everybody press play now. And then we'll all watch the movie together that way. And then after that, every other month will be free movies that I can show on stream. Like, those will be the ones, like, it'll be something, you don't have to buy anything, you don't have to do anything. I'll just show it on stream because it'll be an old movie. Don't worry about it. But for the first one, we want to do something special. That being said, tomorrow, 3 p.m. EST, the biggest stream I've ever held. There's 9 other creators. Everyone is super nice, and they're going to have such a fun time. We're playing Crash Team Racing. Be there. We're raising money for Meals on Wheels. It's going to be the biggest thing I've planned this year. I hope you enjoy it. And until then, good night. Theory well, and stay toasty. And I'll give everyone one last screenshot. Just don't cancel me on Twitter with this, please. What should I hold? What should I do with my left hand? Like, is a peace sign cool? Is this isn't Jesus-y, right? Because I'm not Jesus, I'm Thesis. I'm Theory Jesus. Here you go. Take your screenshots now. God, I'm gonna get canceled on Twitter for that one. It's a T for Theory. It's not a real cross. We made a purple T and we super glued Freddy to it. Alright, good night, guys. See y'all later. See you tomorrow. I'll see all of you tomorrow at 3 p.m. EST, and if I don't see you, I'll be in your walls.